What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 6th of 2021. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, I want to dive into why I think we not only could be repeating history, but in doing so, be setting up for a massive breakout, not only for Ethereum, but for the broader cryptocurrency and DeFi space. I want to talk about not only why I think this is something we need to focus on here in the short term and why it will bode well for Ethereum, but why it's a good solidifier that we have to continue maintaining our focus on altcoins for the broader cycle as we go towards the more euphoric and later stages. So we've got lots of things to discuss, so we're going to dive straight into it right after our quick sponsor. And our sponsor for today's episode is For Us All, the first full-service 401k to soon allow up to 40 cryptocurrencies as investment options, all powered by Coinbase Institutional. This is buzzworthy for two key reasons. One, 401ks charge substantially lower transaction fees than crypto exchanges and lower than crypto IRA solutions. And second, 401k tax advantages mean that if you invest after tax or Roth dollars, your crypto gains can be tax-free forever. So if you're a business owner who wants crypto in a 401k or an employee with a 401k, check out the link down below in the description to learn more. Alrighty, everyone, so let's go ahead and dive straight into it. And to start, we're going to be focusing on Bitcoin. There's a very specific reason we're going to be diving into Bitcoin here first, because we need to understand whether or not Bitcoin is showcasing the necessary price action in order to set in the foundation for higher price action and therefore increase liquidity into the cryptocurrency space. Because if we don't get that, we aren't going to see a major move for Ethereum. So we don't just want to look at Ethereum's chart. We want to see if the big dog, in this case Bitcoin, is showcasing the necessary price action to show further all-time highs in price. And the great news is that it's doing exactly what we need to see in this case, right? Even though people sometimes expect it to happen overnight, Bitcoin is slowly but steadily showcasing the necessary price action, making support of the previous January midpoint range before we reach 65K, breaking through the resistance from back here in January, here in May, in June, back here in August of 2020. Coming up to a previous support range, treating this short-term resistance, coming down here towards the 41K range, making it new support, and in just a matter of a couple of days, practically a week's worth of price action, we've rallied back up to the relative highs from back in September and look like we're on pace to break through and continue climbing higher and hopefully continue the game of setting those higher ranges of support, clearing through resistance, and showing yet again a track record of getting back up to 65K. Right. So Bitcoin's looking great here. There's not too many things that are showcasing any bad signs. The data science models are looking good. So now let's go ahead and talk about this setup for Ethereum, how history may be repeating itself here as we may be midway through the cycle and might be setting up for a massive secondary wave. All right. Now, I want to go ahead and give credit for what kind of sparked me to talk about this. We have discussed this topic on the channel before, but there was a really great article from Yashu over at Cointelegraph that talked about a fractal pattern in this case that may be repeating similar to 2017. And for me, I like looking at the long-term timeframes. I like looking at previous cycle analysis to see if there's going to be any similarities and patterns. And I think that this is probably one of the most solidified ones when it comes to historical analysis. Now, this is the chart that they had showcased here, and I know you guys probably can't see the entire thing if my camera's in the way. Again, I don't know if it's currently on at the moment, but I just wanted to showcase to you guys the overall chart that they had talked about. And it's mainly focused on a couple things. They talk about some technical indicators like the stochastic RSI, as well as the standard RSI, but putting that aside right now, and the similarities here, in general price analysis and cycle analysis as a whole, we can see here that Ethereum back in 2017 towards the beginning of 2018 saw two major waves, a 70x in price coming off of a bullish hammer, which is usually a candle pattern or a certain type of candlestick that showcases a reversal to the upside, a strong rebound in price as people are starting to accumulate and drive prices higher after a sell-off. And we saw a 70x move, a consolidation period where prices generally went sideways, right? We didn't see a major correction, they just pushed sideways for the time being, and then went on to make a 5x move. So what he's proposing here in this case, after seeing a near 34x move from the $80, $100 range back in December of 2018 or March of 2020 that we revisited, after seeing this 34x move, that we're going to see a sideways consolidation as we've already been seeing for a little while, and then see a continued breakout here towards 5-digit territory for Ethereum. And I think that that is a really realistic price range. And again, this is something we've drilled in. The idea that Ethereum really could be going towards 10,000 and an even more euphoric and optimistic setting of $20,000, right? So again, as we go through here, and I can possibly zoom in. I think you guys can see this here good. They've got these different indicators, the RSI and stochastic RSI, showcasing a potential crossing, similar to what we see every single time before Ethereum kicks off, whether it's the first initial cycle in this case or the midpoint cycle, right? So we want to see this and a potential double top here in the RSI, showcasing that, okay, the market's had its second cycle, it's overextended, it's time for a pullback. Well, let's just go ahead and actually take a look at the charts here. Right, so this is the chart that we were taking a look at. This is in dollar terms, right? And I not only want to say that this is generally a sideways consolidation period or just like a general channel, because it's really not a channel as it was kind of projected in regards to the Cointelegraph article. I'm a little bit nitpicky about this. I would say though that more specifically, and this is why we get the euphoric breakouts afterwards, we're setting up an ascending triangle. Now, a sideways consolidation channel after a really phenomenal rally would already be bullish as is. But when it comes to Ethereum's price, we're seeing an ascending triangle, which is incredibly bullish, especially on the kind of time frame we're seeing here. Right? So as we take a look back here, we've got these higher lows, a general consistent resistance range. Right back here, it was around $360, and you can see that the higher lows from 150 here to 200, here to 270. Right? We can see that the bulls are buying in on any sell side pressure, right? Which means that there's more inflows of capital, more market orders on the buy side than on the sell side, driving us up, pressing up against that resistance, and then breaking out from around $350 all the way up towards around $1,450, right? A major move in this case, a really solid set of price action, near 5x in price, right? But as we set up here, the foundation is for potentially another rally like this, probably not as short term and probably not to the exact same multiples as before. I would say that we're not going to see as big of a decline in the multiples of what we saw in the last cycle. And I'll kind of explain what I mean by this. In the sense of, for example, from the bottom to top here for Ethereum, for the first wave, right, we had a 7,000% move. Bottom to top here, or let's just take the March lows here, right? We can see that we made a little bit under a 5,000% move, right? I think that we're going to see something very similar here in the sense of going from a 5x in this case in the previous secondary wave, right? Going towards something more like a 3 or 4x in this wave. And that would take us from where we are right now into 5-digit territory, over $10,000 for Ethereum, starting to press probably towards around 12 to 13K. And that's a really exciting price range for Ethereum. And to expect that that might happen here in the coming months is a really exciting proposition. But I also want to again talk about the Ethereum BTC chart, and this is something that wasn't covered in the article. So this is a chart that we've had within the Dash report for a long period of time when it comes to analyzing Ethereum. We've had this drawn back over the last couple months, and it's been our focus point here as we've been taking a look at the long-term timeframes. If you look at the long-term timeframes for Ethereum and other cryptocurrency plays with what you have to work with, and you're looking at the weekly and monthly charts, you start to get a very clear picture about where things might go. We can see here that there are really a few key variables here as we take a look at Ethereum's chart, right? We have this general green midpoint line, which is where, again, the bottom half of the cycle resides, right? The consolidation periods, and then the euphoric secondary wave in the cycle, and also the denial stage in this case as things start to decline, right? People are still betting, oh, Ethereum in this case, it's going to hold up, it's going to keep making higher highs against Bitcoin, right? And unfortunately, you get dragged down. The bear market really comes into fruition. Depression in this case, the unfortunate nature of all market cycles where we have optimistic wings and negative wings in this case, the negative phase starts to play out, right? So we have that midpoint line on the logarithmic chart. But outside of that as well, we've also had this line of resistance over the past couple of years that weighed down Ethereum and is now acting as support. And now we're starting to consolidate here between that midpoint line and an increasing or uptrend line of support that was previous resistance. Now, I know I have it drawn on the chart, but guys, I'm curious to hear from you guys. Do you think that this is where Ethereum breaks down lower or breaks higher? What does history tell us, right? When we come up towards this midpoint line, right? Again, when we come up here overall, this is generally going to be a sign where we've made it halfway through the cycle. right? We had our first wave here. This is, again, where we were talking about back here at the breakout in the USD chart. Right? We have these generally two phases here on the Bitcoin chart where it cycles and it's more favorable to be in one or the other, right? So as we're pressing up here against this line, we could be setting up for that major secondary wave. Now, there is one potential chance that this could start to be a bearish play, and that's if we do have a solidified breakdown below this, if Bitcoin really starts to go euphoric and Ethereum sets back. But the dollar chart really isn't saying that, right? And outside of that as well, if we take a look at altcoin dominance has remained relatively confident here with no serious signs of pulling back in the market. Until we see that trend reversal, until we see significant trend reversal in this case, which is lower highs and lower lows in altcoin dominance. And in regards to the Ethereum chart, whereas we've been seeing higher lows in this case against a generally consistent resistance range, we should be in favor of the bullish narrative here. We should be continuing to be optimistic and ride the trend. So in this case, I think that we've got a really good setup here for Ethereum to revisit that 5-digit territory. And I'm not going to say that's going to happen in as short of a time frame as we saw here from November 2017 to January 2018. I'm not calling for that. Right? I don't think we're going to see our cycle top just yet. And it may be that this drags on for a little bit longer, especially as we're talking about much larger valuation ranges, which therein require much larger ranges of liquidity flow. All I'm saying here is that I genuinely believe that as we take a look at the Bitcoin chart here, as well as the US dollar chart, I think we've got this framework here to make a breakout here in the near future where Ethereum is going to generally outpace Bitcoin 2 to 3x. I think it's going to make larger multiples here against Bitcoin wherever it goes, whether it's 100K, 150K, 200K in the cycle. No matter what your 6-digit territory price target is for Bitcoin, I think that we're setting up here for Ethereum to outperform. It's one of the safe but more higher reward paying bets in the altcoin space. And look, again, at the same time, as I'm saying this, guys, as much as I'm optimistic that this will carry forward the altcoin space as a whole, it doesn't mean in this case that you have to go out and speculate on a lot of small cap plays because many of them may not keep up with Ethereum. I know that many people would say that's foolish, that they're smaller, they have markets of scale in this case. And look, as much as I agree with those principles of markets of scale, there's going to be a lot of plays that fail and can't keep up with the momentum and excitement around Ethereum, as a lot of the liquidity that's going to come around this time is not just retail, but institutional, and they look for the safer bets. So anyways, guys, I've rambled on enough, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this topic? What do you think about the charts that we discussed today? If you guys want to drop a like, it's always much appreciated here on the channel. It's one of the best things you guys can do to help support and grow the channel. And another way as well is by simply subscribing and hitting the bell icon if you guys like this kind of content, if you don't mind me rambling too much. And if you got through today's video, as I've got a little bit of a sore throat, I've got common cold in this case, nothing severe, I appreciate it, guys. And that's a telltale sign that you should probably consider watching more content here on the channel if you can deal with my rambling even when I'm sick. So hope you guys have a fantastic day wherever you are. Stay safe, trade smart, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.